Welcome to part two of development and codification of religious and cultural traditions. This will be the Middle Eastern edition. The Middle Eastern tradition will cover the main religions that began in the Middle East, which are going to be Zoroastrianism, Judaism, or Zoroastrianism is from Persia, Judaism, which is going to originate in Egypt, Christianity, which will originate in Rome, and Islam, which will in Saudi Arabia, well, current day Saudi Arabia, but the Arabian Peninsula. And the main similarity is that they all are going to be monotheistic. Zoroastrianism is, like I said, from Persia, and they had a unique god, Ahura Mazda. Alright, so there's the spelling of his name, Ahura Mazda. And he was the source of all truth, light, and goodness. And there was a cosmic struggle between him and the forces of evil. And people would go through that struggle of goodness and evil. And at the day of judgment, those who aligned with Mazda would be granted new bodies and rewarded with eternal life in paradise. And those who sided with evil would be condemned to everlasting punishment. All right, so that sounds a little bit familiar, hopefully, to some other religions. You might know that idea of the balance or the fight between good and evil in your afterlife. All right, whether you would go to eternal life in paradise, all right, or be condemned to everlasting punishment. All right, but this religion would not spread widely, but there are still some that follow it to this day. The next three religions are known as the Abrahamic religions, all right, because their bases are similar, all right, and those three religions will be Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The first one we're going to talk about is Judaism, which is going to set the foundation for both Christianity and Islam. All right, so first, Judaism was founded by the Hebrews, and they were an enslaved group in Egypt. And they're going to they fled from Egypt to Palestine, which is in current day, like Israel. And so this religion was founded by Abraham, and they follow the Hebrew Bible, which is similar to the Old Testament of Christians. They believe you need to live a moral life within God's laws and follow the Ten Commandments. Judaism would borrow some aspects or Zoroastrianism, such as being judged after death, all right, and it never spread widely compared to Christianity and Islam. Our next religion is Christianity, and it's going to start in the Roman Empire. There was a young Jewish peasant in the Roman Empire who had a brief 3-year career of teaching and miracle working before he would be crucified. According to the New Testament, the Christian Bible, the miracles he performed reflected the power that God had given to him or made available to him. All right, and so this carpenter was Jesus. And Jesus would speak on behalf of the poor and the oppressed, and he would criticize the Roman government and the wealthy. His teachings had so antagonized both Jewish and Roman authorities that he would be crucified as a political rebel. After Jesus was crucified, his body was resurrected, and after his resurrection, the followers of Christianity began to rise. People started to really believe in him. The inclusive message of equality that Christianity taught gained a lot of converts at first in the lower social classes of the Roman Empire. Most early followers did not live in Europe, even though Christianity is considered or mostly associated with Europe. The beginning times, it wasn't mostly Europeans or that side of Roman Empire that followed it. All right, it was mostly in current day, like Syria, and the other Middle Eastern areas. All right. Eventually, Christianity would not or would become the official religion of the Roman Empire. The Emperor Constantine conversion to Christianity was his attempt to try to unite the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire was falling apart, and he was trying to find a way to unite them and save the empire. And that's when Christianity became the official religion of the Roman Empire. Christianity borrows some components of Judaism, such as the Ten Commandments in the Old Testament. So if you look at Christian Bible today, there's two parts, right? There's the Old Testament and the New Testament. The New Testament is the teachings during Jesus, right? The Old Testaments are the teachings before. All right, Christianity also borrows some components of Zoroastrianism, such as heaven and hell and judgment day. And our last religion is Islam. Islam would be founded actually after the classical era, but since we're going over all the religions, I'm grouping them into this PowerPoint. But Islam is going to be during the post-classical era. The significance of this rising Islamic world is it brought a large nomadic and small role Arabic people into a central role in world history. So before Islam, the nomadic and Arabic people in the Middle East region, they played a small role. But after Islam, they're going to have a central role in the world. Under Islam, the Arabs would create a huge empire expanding from Spain to India. This empire would be the largest and most influential of the post-classical era. It would grow to be the second most followed religion today. Islam would grow in the Arabian Peninsula, which was inhabited by these Arabs known as Bedouins. All right, that's how you spell their name. All right, and they lived in independent clans and tribes, which often fought, and they were polytheistic. Mecca, a city there, became an important city for both trade and because there was a religious shrine there known as the Kaaba, which is pictured here. All right, that's how you spell that there. All right, and drawing from the monotheistic thoughts of the Jews, Christians, and Zoroastrianism, by the time of Muhammad, most of the Arabs had acknowledged Allah as the supreme God. Muhammad, a merchant, was troubled by the corruption and social inequalities of the region, and he would often withdraw from people and go meditate. Similar to Buddha and Jesus, while meditating, Muhammad came to the realization that he was Allah's messenger to the Arabs. His revelations became known as the Quran, the book today that Muslims use to worship. It was a call to a new faith. It wasn't a call to a new faith, but an invitation to return to the old and pure religion of Abraham, from which the Christians and Jews, he believed, had misinterpreted. So Islam calls for submission to Allah, and if you do, after death, you receive a spot in paradise. And there's 5 requirements for believers. First is to believe that God is the only God and Muhammad is the messenger, to pray 5 times a day, to give support to the poor and needy, to practice Ramadan, a month of fasting, and last, to make a pilgrimage to Mecca, known as a Hajj. All right, that's how you spell the Hajj, right? The pilgrimage to Mecca. This is a picture of it. As Muhammad began to teach, the ruling family, in fear of losing their power, went to end Muhammad's teaching. He would flee the city of Mecca, go to the city of Medina, and raise a following, an army, and then he would return to Mecca and replace the ruling family. And from there, Islam would grow into a dynasty or empire. All right, we'll talk more about Islam growing into an empire during our next time period, the post-classical era. But that's the basics of Islam. All right, and so that finishes our lecture on the belief system / religion.